Oh, yeah. I was looking in this dictionary. Yeah. And I've had some difficulties over the years. Yeah. Now they have a word called to hoard. The accumulation of something stored away for safekeeping or future use, to amass. Yeah. And hide or store valuables, money, a hoarder. Then they have what's called hitchhike, to travel by signaling and obtaining rides from a passing driver, a hitchhiker. Yeah. You know, I have noticed that hoarders seem to be somewhat popular in American culture. You know how fish never get rid of anything. And I've had some difficulty getting my rights enforced, and there have been a number of times where I felt obligated to hitchhike. And I remember once I was trying to get to swim on a Saturday morning. I used to go to swim because they have a lunch at the Episcopal Church, and I had my thumb out. I was trying to hitchhike so as to get to swim so I could go to lunch. Yeah. Because I just didn't have enough money to have my own vehicle or my own house, even though my right to due process has been violated since 2011. There was a police officer that had stopped and informed me that it was illegal to hitchhike within city limits. It seemed like they put that Serenity House out on 18th Street, and it takes an hour, a little more than an hour, about an hour and 15 minutes to walk from there to the Safeway, and it's about 10,000 steps. Well, I really doubted what that police officer had said. It was almost like he stopped me so that he could be on me. Have you ever gotten stopped by a police officer so they could put their surveillance technology on you? Now, I know it should be the business of the police that receive their income from the taxation of the citizens to not put their surveillance technology on the citizens. So, is it a crime to hitchhike when you're trying to get a ride to get to a location? Now, I don't know specifically what the laws are, but I would say that for every officer of the law that has decided they needed to have an excuse or a reason to stop somebody so that they could be on them, they could put their surveillance technology on them, I'm going to have to sue every police department for interrupting the private lives of citizens. Ooch. Now, I know there must be some laws about where you can hitchhike and where you can't hitchhike. Yes. And I'm going to need some attorneys to go through every law in every state where it is or is not illegal to try to hitch a ride to get someplace. Yes. And then I'm going to go through every stop of every police officer, every sheriff, and all of those in law enforcement that make it seem like it's a necessary interruption to a citizen. Right, State Patrol. But the truth is, they had targeted certain citizens so as to be able to violate their private lives and sew themselves in so they could see through their eyes or they could know what they are doing. So could you get me every stop of every police officer, sheriff, state patrol, any of those that have badges on that acted like there was a reason for interrupting the private lives of citizens? Now, privacy is something somewhat important. I had an experience, must have been 3.5, 4 years ago, where I was walking along by myself. It was kind of in the evening. It was a nice evening, and I was talking to myself. And it's not like I didn't know that somebody had their nose on me. Pooch. But all of a sudden, a police officer rolled up on me and said, well, we've had a report that you're a problem. I was like, no, I'm not. I was walking along the sidewalk by myself, talking to myself, knowing that I have a nose on me. And then the officer said, what's your name? And I'm like, I don't have to tell you my name. I don't have to tell you anything. It's not against the law to walk on the sidewalk talking to yourself. But I did know that I had a nose on me. Somebody's been listening through my nose this whole time. Well, easy way, hard way. He said, well, there's an easy way we can do this. You can tell me what I want to know, or we can do it the hard way. And being that American citizen, I had to ask, easy way, hard way, what's the hard way? Well, then Officer Johnson rolled up in his patrol car. I turned around and looked at the one-armed officer and introduced myself as Paul Budnek, an American citizen. Now, it looks to me that somebody could have been on that woman that had supposedly been a concerned citizen about an American walking along the sidewalk in broad daylight talking to himself, when I know that somebody's been listening through my nose this whole time. Now I'm just going to have to sue all of those in law enforcement and their departments that had any nose of any citizen so they could hear what they were saying. They could see what they were seeing, or they could know what they were thinking. And then they interrupted their lives so as to be on them.